Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is the brother Quadar of GMS Gulf Coast. And I'd like to start by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors are given up to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. I also like to send a shalom to the hopefully elect, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which is scattered throughout the four winds of planet Earth, north, south, east, and west, which consists of men, women, and children in that order. I also like to send a shalom to the various GMS camps, elder bishops, elders, heads, and last but not least, I'd like to send a shalom to any of you Akim, not named GMS, but walking one body, one spirit in Yahweh Shai, preaching and teaching is 100% truth as it is taught to us all by the apostle elders of Great Millstone. To you all, shalom. Hey, Lord willing, Abaratazah, this be edified. And I know, rather I've been following the ordeal about that Nord Stream pipeline that was so-called mysteriously blown up. But just like I heard a YouTuber say this before, you know, that a video is the worst weapon against a lying tongue. So I have a few video clips that I want to state for the record. I want to put on for the record, as they would say in a courtroom. Well, these devils here in the West are the rulers here in the West, you know, are pretty much being caught up in the lies and the deceit that they're trying to push. So that they're trying to push forward as though, you know, they want to throw the rock and hide the hand, you know, that type of terminology, you know. And because, you know, on the subject of this pipeline, they were questioning about this a few weeks back, you know. I wasn't able to dredge that particular video up, but I do recall it. And they vehemently denied any involvement. As I remember it, the reporter that asked the question was mocked as though that they was, you know, they was delusional. This is what the U.S. Government officials, or that particular official, was trying to express there in that conference room, as though the reporter was asking a preposterous question, asking about the U.S. involvement in that pipeline being destroyed, because it was a guy, I can't think of his name right off top, that had came out and spoke, you know, had spoke on that. So having said that, I want to play a few clips, if I may. Lord willing, don't be too long, but you know, hey, you know, we're just gonna go in the spirit because a point is trying to be made here. These people in the West, the people who rule here in the West, well, we know that they're being lobbied, given orders, but here in the West, these people spew nothing but lies. And now this is not an attempt to try to justify or to excuse the actions of any of these so-called white people, whether they be in the East or the West. Because ultimately, in the end, they're all going into slavery. It doesn't matter. But I want to just point out the hypocrisy, and the lies, the blatant lies, you know, and the deception. So with no further ado, let me let the video play, and I'll chime in here now.
According to the New York Times, a new intelligence report reviewed by U.S. officials asserts that a pro-Ukrainian group was behind last year's attacks on the Nord Stream pipeline. U.S. government officials say there are no links showing Ukrainian President Zelensky or his government had anything to do with the act, but declined to offer any further information on the intelligence.
Meanwhile, Zelensky has vowed to send more troops to the eastern city of Bakhmut in what has become the bloodiest battle in the war with Russia. This just days after reports suggested Kiev is likely withdrawing from the battle.
Zelensky's announcement comes after President Biden approved another $400 million in aid to Ukraine. The unfaltering spending to the war-torn country has caused lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to begin to question the funding packages, according to the New York Times. So this story about Nord Stream in the New York Times is about intelligence report. So it sounds like officials, U.S. National security officials, are summarizing this intelligence for the New York Times. Very interesting. So it does not say that Russia did this. Now, to be clear, it doesn't say the U.S. did it. It said, or Zelensky, it says a pro-Ukrainian entity.
But not Ukraine.
What is the pro-Ukrainian entity that's not Ukraine?
And not the United States of America.
I mean, right. I mean, you at this point, man, you have to laugh at the consistency of the inconsistency in the lies of the United States. At this point, man, it's laughable. I mean, I don't want to say it, but Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles can see through the bullshit. It is what it is at this point, man. These folks over here making light of this. It don't even make sense. Now they're not saying Russia did it, and they most definitely are not saying they did it. Now it's Zelensky who did it, but his government wasn't involved, and he wasn't involved. Come on, man. This is. But nevertheless, I'm gonna tell you something. Let me stress this, and I can't stress this enough. For 2/3 of the nation of Israel, which make up you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, this type of truth flies directly over your head, like a fastball that you couldn't catch. But let's continue.
Yeah, look, I'm not accusing anybody of simply printing U.S. intelligence reports that are false because it exonerates the U.S. and Zelensky of responsibility for an attack on a pipeline that would be a violation of international law. However, we definitely know that there is a pattern that exists of media printing U.S. intelligence reports the way they print police reports uncritically, and the complete and total deficit of information here, I think, is revealing.
I would like to see this intelligence report myself. Why is this not something the American people can view?
Right.
See that? See. I mean, the debauchery, the foolery. I mean, just the plain out. I mean, they done got very, very sloppy at this point. Yeah, I mean, even these reporters are coming out. It's not uncommon that news outlets and New York Times and these other Forbes and would write these untruths and conveniently exclude the U.S. and it's laughable now. It really is. It's and I say again, I want to reinforce this. The fact that it goes over the heads of the people of Israel, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, 2/3 of you to be exact, man, that's even more laughable. And it shows you the state of mind 2/3 of our people are in, and and that scripture in Zechariah, I think it's 13:8, where it says that 2/3 throughout the whole land shall be cut off and die, roughly paraphrasing, because you want this to continue. You want America to continue. You want this madness to continue. You're looking for your 401k. I was talking with a woman today. I'm self-employed, seasonal work. But anyway, she was speaking about her and her husband got a 401k, and once he retired from Chevron, he gonna get that, and she's waiting till she gets 65, and she's gonna get her, her pennies from the government, and they got a few rental homes, and they'll have like 8 checks coming in. Jake is longing for the day. But in the meanwhile, you're not listening. You're not paying attention to the process. You're not, I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.
So here's just one paragraph that shows you the kind of void that this article really is. It says, U.S. officials said there was much they didn't know about the perpetrators or their affiliations. The review of newly collected intelligence suggests they were opponents of Vladimir Putin of Russia, but does not specify the members of the group or who directed or paid for the operation. U.S. officials declined to disclose the nature of the intelligence or how it.
Very, very vague. You know what I'm talking about? You hear this? Very vague. When you get a chance, go back and play this and listen to these reporters. The information that Forbes or New York Times giving is very vague. It's just an attempt to try to divert the attention off the U.S. for pulling this. And I'm gonna show you a video where President Biden and one of his allies, I can't think you'll be able to see the video in a few, said everything but that they was gonna blow up that line, that pipeline. They said everything but what we're gonna blow it up. Mind you, they were very tedious and about how they tiptoed close to that line and this video I'm about to show you is a year ago.
Obtained or any details of the strength of the evidence it contains. They have said there are no firm conclusions about it, leaving open the possibility that the operation might have been conducted off the books by a proxy force. So what this does is basically have an article that says, just in case you're wondering, we don't know anything about anything, but it wasn't us and it wasn't Zelensky.
But this is a little bit, I agree with you, but it represents a slight shift because they're not saying Russia did it.
Well, they haven't been saying Russia did it. There was a report, I think, on the Washington Post at the end of last year where there was just no intelligence there for
U.S.
Russia's
officials
involvement.
have been saying Russia did it.
U.S. officials, but the media has been off of that for a long time. Even the corporate media has come out with reports that I think it was because the
well, but this is U.S. officials now saying in an intelligence report being summarized by the New York Times, but the intelligence people are not saying Russia did it. I found that remarkable.
Well, I think the reason is, ever since we got the report last year from whatever it was, the combination of Norway and Sweden and Germany, or whoever it was that was doing the investigation, they very quickly cleared Russia of responsibility. So there was absolutely no evidence that Russia could be involved. So since that point, unless they're willing to...
So then why was the U.S. so quick to point the fingers at Russia then? Now that the so-called allies, their buddies and their friends have done their own inquiry, have done their own research, have done their own investigation, now they coming up with these phantom ghostwriters at Forbes and New York Times and saying it was some proxy group and it wasn't us and it wasn't Zelensky. Like I say, man, these folks got sloppy, man. But to the unlearned or untrained ear, this just... Hey, it is what it is. It just goes right above your head, because I'm worried about my 401k and the new Mercedes truck that my husband is going to buy me. This is the type of foolishness I have to listen to when I have to, have to tolerate going into the world to get my daily bread. You follow what I'm saying? When all of this madness is going on, all of this truth, all of these things that are going to take hold of their everyday lives, they're blatantly ignoring these things and are ignorant of what's truly happening, living in a fantasy world.
Contradict allies and have some proof with which to contradict allies, I think it put the U.S. in a very difficult position. And the narrative of Russia having involvement has been substantively dead for a while, but that leaves a void, right? That leaves okay, then who did it void? Because as the Seymour Hersh reporting details, it takes an enormous amount of technical capacity to be able to carry something out like this at the deep sea depths. There's only so many divers that are trained for this kind of operation.
So how in the world did a pro-Ukrainian group do this? And not only that, who supplied them with the tools, with the instrument, the instruments to carry out such a task? Who funded it? You follow what I'm saying? These are the questions that we don't ask, by and large. Seymour Hersh, you know what I'm saying? This is the reason that they're trying to come back and cover, and sweep the floor, because there's a lot of chatter going around because, like I said, a lot of United States allies have cleared, and ain't no but they have all cleared Russia of any involvement in blowing up their own money line. That don't even make sense, for one. But they've been cleared by a separate inquiry of European countries over there to say, hey, man, Russia ain't had nothing to do with this. Now the United States coming up with these ghostwriters, talking about the New York Times and Forbes. Now they're trying to put it on Zelensky. And that's not far-fetched because I did a video, I think yesterday, not a few days ago, exploiting the relationship between Ukraine and the United States. It's becoming strained because Zelensky, the president, he's going off script. Because you know why? Because see, he has the answer to his people there in his country. The United States can only do so much as influencing him to do this and to say that. Because the scriptures also speak that they're going to be uprising of the people. They're going to disregard their kings. And that's what that man is experiencing, quiet as kept. So you're starting to see the strained relationship between Ukraine and the U.S. And now the U.S. is starting to turn. They're showing you that that they're no good. Now you're somebody that's a pro the U.S. These ghostwriters for the U.S. are saying now it's a pro-Ukrainian group that opposes Russia. Okay, if that's the case, then who funding them? Who's giving them weapons? Who just gave them $400 billion, $400 million more dollars? You might as well just say that's you. Because what they say, if you want to know who's behind it all, what you do, you follow the money. I mean, these people are not smart. They're not smart at all.
There's so many ships that can gain access to this heavily patrolled NATO area of the occupied area of the ocean, of the sea. So this seems to be, one might argue that this is an effort to provide a placeholder where that void of Russia didn't do it exists, which is to say that there could be some terrorist group, some third party unaffiliated with another country. Because again, this is important. Because once it's affiliated with the country, once Zelensky's responsible, once the United States is responsible, there are implications for international law.
Zelensky, I believe, has said Russia is responsible. But so now, well, no, I know. But the thing, U.S. intelligence officials are contradicting what Zelensky has said. And contradicting what our own officials used to say. I mean, you're right that the media's maybe moved, even the corporate media catching up to it. But I think this is a little bit like the lab leak animal spillover debate, where like the side that the dissidents or the contrarians or the people not well respected have been saying, we're not allowed to talk about it. You don't think there's any likelihood to this? Is gradually winning over time.
Well, look, you can see.
And I actually see this piece as, even though it's flawed and not, I don't think correct.
That's
about
funny. I see it as fully insulating. It's telling people no matter what ambiguity exists out there, America definitely didn't do it. And Zelensky definitely didn't do it, which to me represents not a kind of movement to more inquiry and openness. It's, if you're going to use the lab leak analogy, it's as if instead of saying we know it's zoonotic, they say it might not be zoonotic, but it's absolutely not lab leak. You know, it's absolutely not the one that would be negatively implicate America or our funding practices in these labs or whatever negatively.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. I would like you to check this video out. I'm going to read along. It says, U.S. think pro-Ukrainian group blew up Nord Stream pipelines, reports say. It says, new U.S. intelligence indicates a pro-Ukrainian group was responsible. Listen to that. Pro-Ukrainian group was responsible for exploding the Nord Stream natural gas pipelines last year. Now, I got that definition of the word, or etymology of the word pro, and it goes as such. In favor of, on behalf of. So the pro-Ukrainian group was in favor of Ukraine and was doing this on behalf of Ukraine. Now, you follow this? Pro goes in favor of, on behalf of. So U.S. intelligence indicate that a pro-Ukrainian group, which was in favor of and on behalf of Ukraine, was responsible for exploding the Nord Stream natural gas pipelines last year. You understand that? You get that? The pro-Ukrainian group was in favor of Ukraine and acting on behalf of Ukraine. responsible for exploding the Nord Stream natural gas pipeline. Let's keep going. It says U.S. officials told the New York Times, the Haiti ghostwriters, the first results of a months long investigation into a series of mysterious leaks. Mysterious. Should have looked that word up. It says on the Russian-owned undersea pipeline months after Russia invaded Ukraine. It says intelligence officers believe a group of Ukrainian or Russian nationals, or a combination of the two, sabotage the Nord Stream pipeline. Listen to this madness, man. Intelligent officers. Now we know who the ghostwriters are. New York Times. And a ghostwriter is someone just like these rappers. They be writing. Sometimes folks write their songs, and you think they wrote them. So this is anyway. Let's keep reading. It says intelligent officers believe a group of Ukrainian or Russian nationals, or a combination of the two, sabotage the Nord Stream pipe. Ain't that something? This does not make. Hey, when you tell a lie, it started unraveling, and that's what you're seeing. And it says Nord Stream two pipelines that leak Russian that link Russia with Germany in September. The Times reported. Now here go another ghostwriter. The Times. Oh no, that's New York Times. The Times reported citing unnamed U.S. officials. So they're getting all this info from the U.S. Here's the debauchery. Check this out. There is no evidence suggesting Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky or the Ukrainian government were responsible officials said. But you just said pro-Ukrainian group, and that word that prefix pro goes into in favor of, on behalf of. So whoever did this was in favor of Ukraine and was acting on the behalf of Ukraine. You just said that when you said pro. Then a few sentences later, there's no evidence. The same New York Times, these ghostwriters, they said there's no evidence suggesting that Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky or Ukrainian government were responsible, officials said. So what are these head figures? What are they doing then? If the people if the people in Ukraine can come up with this expensive equipment and have this extensive diving experience to go down here and plant bombs and whatnot to sabotage a pipeline, these are some bad people. But mind you, the Ukrainian government doesn't supply its own defense machinery. NATO and the U.S. does. So what good is what his name Zelensky if he got people outside of his government, outside his control, that can go and sabotage, that can act on their own will? That don't even make no sense. But this is what they're putting out. This is what the United States is pushing now. Because mind you, just like they said, Sweden and a host of other countries, European countries, had exonerated Russia from having anything to do with this. So guess what? It goes back on. The coin flipped back to the U.S. You don't know somebody that's going gain from this. You don't know somebody who's going to gain from this. You and your cronies. Although these other countries that I could just name, they are part of NATO as well, but they actually are getting something out of the deal with that natural gas that Russia's pumping in there. when Russia is providing over 40% of the natural gas that comes into Europe. They getting something out of the deal. This is straining the relationships between the Europeans and the European or these so-called white folks over here in the U.S. But let's keep going on. It says, though intelligence suggests that the perpetrators oppose Russian President Vladimir Putin, European officials previously told the Washington Post, now there go another ghostwriter, there is no evidence that the Russian government was involved in the attack. Now that's a big turn from what they were saying earlier. That's a big turn from what they were saying earlier. Because now, the only reason they say that, like I said, the European countries themselves, Sweden on into Russia, on into Germany themselves, have done their own inquiry, have done their own investigation, and found that Russia ain't have nothing to do with this. So who that leaves holding the gun? You got it, United States. Check this out. Listen to this. With some officials arguing Russia was unlikely to deliberately blow up a pipeline that is used to export gas to Europe. Of course, that's their money. That don't even make sense. They blow it up and say the United States did it. You're gonna deliberately cut off your money just to place blame on somebody else. That don't even make sense. That's how the foolishness of these Western devils. You wonder are they thinking about any of this before they go to opening their mouths? Do you know how you say? Think about what you're about to say before you open your mouth, and it's showing evidently that these so-called white folks over here in the U.S. they don't think before they open their mouth. They just open their mouth. They lie so much. They've done it for so long and so much, and to their credit, the majority of the people believe it. So they think that they could just say anything and you're just gonna go along with it. That time is up. That time is we've crossed that bridge. That time has come to an end, and they looking like straight up fools now. Check this out. It says it is still unknown what group carried out the attack or how the attack transpired. Now all of a sudden, it's still unknown. It's like a murder case goes cold. You have investigators and whatnot. You follow what I'm saying? You just go back to that John Bonet Ramsey case. The pencil came out of the mama's room. The note that the investigators found was written in her handwriting. You follow what I'm saying? And then in the end, the parents were exonerated, and they still don't know who did it today, to this very day. These are the games these people play, man. Go Google that John Bonet Ramsey case, 96, the Christmas of 96. A little 5-6-year-old girl was in them damn beauty pageants, and that's another thing that wicked. Anyway, I'm not getting into that, but Google it. This is similar to that as far as the circumstances. Check this out. It says, and it is also unknown how long it will take investigators to reach a conclusion about the perpetrators. But they was quick. When you go Google this, you'll see how quick the U.S. was pointing the fingers at Russia. Now all of a sudden they changed their whole, because the people that they was trusting to go along with the lie, they did their own investigation. Now the United States has got to do what you call it, damage control now. mind you, Germany was one of the head countries that went into that inquiry to do their own investigation. They didn't want to go along with what NATO just said to say or the United States had to say. You follow? So this is why you see the change in attitude as far as the United States is concerned, because Forbes and New York Times is based out of what? The United States. Now, this is a very important clue right here. Check this out. Swedish officials reported in September that the leaks were found in the Nord Stream pipeline 1 hours after Denmark announced there was a leak in Nord Stream 2. Now, real quick, let's go somewhere real quick with this. Denmark. That's very important. Let's check something out real quick, shall we?
According to Department of State, Denmark is a strong NATO ally and a reliable contributor to multinational stability operations, as well as to international assistance initiatives.
You heard that? Denmark is a strong NATO ally and reliable contributor to multinational stability operations, as well as to international assistance initiatives. Denmark has forces deployed worldwide to several NATO missions, UN peacekeeping operations, and the global coalition to defeat ISIS. Now, I want to, let's see, and they became a member back in Denmark and NATO 1949. Now, it was some U.S. relations with Denmark. Let's see about this. Because that's very important, because the Swedes said the Danish people spoke about a leak. This is the first time you heard about a leak, and you find out Denmark and the U.S. relations with the Kingdom of Denmark. Let's see, Bureau of European and Eurasia Affairs. More information about. It says the Kingdom of Denmark and the United States have long enjoyed a close and mutual beneficial relation. The two countries consult closely on European and other regional political and security matters and cooperate extensively to promote peace and stability well beyond Europe's borders. Denmark is a stalwart NATO ally and a reliable contributor to multinational stability operations, as well as to international assistance initiative. Denmark's forces. Okay. Let's keep reading. Global coalitions, ISIS, blah blah blah. Since now, and let's see. Come on. And 1973 was incorporated into the EU upon founding. 1993, world's most ambitious country in the fight against climate change, and is a close partner of the United States on pushing for increased global action during COP26. Denmark joined the global methane pledge and agricultural initiative invocation mission for climate. That's the synonym or whatever they want to call it. Agrees. Okay. So these are very, very. It says the food island on Greenland semi. They have a place in the Baltic Sea that I was looking for. Let's see. Let's go back real quick. Let's see. What matters? Trump efforts Denmark. It says now. They have a relationship going back. It says NATO countries. What is NATO? Join last member. Let's see. Founders history. Members of the North American and Europe. United States, Denmark, allies. Now, let's see.
According to Department of State, the Kingdom of Denmark and the United States have long enjoyed a close and mutually beneficial relationship.
Let's see. Let me see something. I think. Okay. Actually, their relationship goes back to 1890 or so. I think around there, 1890. It goes back to the 1800s. I pulled it up on my other phone, and I can't put Nordic discomfort how Denmark, Sweden, and Finland could harm. Now, mind you, Sweden and Germany was head in this investigation about that line being blown up. Now, anyway, we made the connection. They are very close friends with the U.S. Let's go back to the video real quick. This is not being longer than what I expected. And of course, YouTube messing with stuff.
Living with obesity isn't about a lack of willpower. It's not a character flaw. It's bigger than that.
Now it says Swedish officials reported in September that the leaks were found in the Nord Stream 1 pipeline hours before Denmark announced there was a leak in Nord Stream 2. How convenient. One of the NATO allies was the first one that brung up the leaks. Close ally to the U.S. Go figure. Go figure. And check this out. All the leaks appear near the island of Bornholm, a Danish territory in the Baltic Sea. Smoking gun. Anyway, I want to show you a clip of because I'm going to show you Biden here. I'm going to show you him actually all but admitting that line was going to go up in smokes.
Well, I'll take a couple questions each. Reuters. Well, I'll take a couple questions each. Reuters and Andrea.
Now, mind you, this was over a year ago, before the pipeline was blown up, sabotaged, as they say.
Well, I'll take a couple questions each. Reuters and Andrea. You got the first question.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chancellor Schultz. Mr. President, I have wanted to ask you about this Nord Stream project that you've long opposed. You didn't mention it just now by name, nor did Chancellor Schultz. Did you receive assurances from Chancellor Schultz today that Germany will, in fact, pull the plug on this project if Russia invades Ukraine? And did you discuss what the definition of...
You see that? Now, this was before Russia so-called invaded Ukraine. So this goes back before this, So pay attention to the lingo. It's lucky for this. I'm going to take it back.
Well, I'll take a couple questions each. Reuters and Andrea. You got the first question.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Chancellor Schultz. Mr. President, I have wanted to ask you about this Nord Stream project that you've long opposed. You didn't mention it just now by name, nor did Chancellor Schultz. Did you receive assurances from Chancellor Schultz today that Germany will, in fact, pull the plug on this project if Russia invades Ukraine? And did you discuss what the definition of invasion could be? And then Chancellor Scholz, wenn ich Sie fragen darf,
If I may ask you,
Sie
Chancellor
haben
Scholz,
darüber gesprochen, dass es eine
you
strategische
said there was
Ambiguität
some
geben soll,
strategic ambiguity
wegen
that was
Sanktionen.
needed in
Und,
terms of
ich
sanctions.
wollte wissen, ob
I
die
just wanted to know
Sanktionen, die
whether
Sie
the
vorhaben,
sanctions
die
you are
EU
envisaging
vorhaben,
and the
die US
EU is
vorhaben,
working on, and the
nun
US as
schon
well,
fertig geschnürt sind
are
oder ob das noch
already
ausgearbeitet
finished,
wird?
finalized,
Und
or
ist
is there
denn
still
in der
work
Tat,
ongoing?
Ihre,
And
also, dass Sie das nicht sagen wollen, was genau da drin ist. Ist
you're
das
not
eine
really saying what the details
Ausrede,
are.
dass
Is that
Deutschland
just an
vielleicht zum Beispiel die
excuse
SWIFT,
for Germany
Maßnahmen
maybe
nicht
to
mittragen
not
wird?
support the SWIFT measures?
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Well, smoking gun. Let's keep going.
Thank you very much for your question. I want to be absolutely clear. We have intensively prepared everything to be ready with the necessary sanctions if there is a military aggression against Ukraine. And this is necessary. It is necessary that we do this in advance so that Russia can clearly understand that these are far-reaching, severe measures. It is part of this.
You notice the terminology used: far-reaching, extreme measures. Okay, I got a definition for that word, far-reaching, and it goes into simple, having a wide range, influence, or effect. Far-reaching, again, having a wide range, influence, or effect. The United States has a wide range, influence, or an effect on things that are happening globally. You heard with Denmark, it was a worldwide, international, multinational coalition. You know, even in the language, as you break down what they're saying, they'll tell you. But you have to do your due diligence and actually go into what they're saying. And there it is. They've all but admitted it right there.
It is necessary that we do this in advance so that Russia can clearly understand that these are far-reaching, severe measures. It is part of this process that we do not spell out everything in public, because Russia could understand that there might be even more to come. And at the same time, it is very clear we are well prepared with far-reaching measures. We will take these measures together with our allies, with our partners.
You heard him? We would take these measures together with our allies, such as what? Denmark. Again, far-reaching. He used that terminology again, and the meaning, having a wide range, influence, or effect.
Partners with the US, and we will take all necessary steps. You can be sure that there won't be any measures in which we have a differing approach. We will act together, jointly.
This is a good idea to say to our American friends, we will be united, we will act together, and we will take all the necessary steps, and all the necessary steps will be done by all of us together.
Today to turning
All the necessary steps will be taken by us together. And that leads into a few precepts. And we're going to close this. Again, you know, it's very simple to really just kiss this man and all his lies, you know. This is Amos chapter 3 and verse 3, and it reads, just expounding on what he just said. You know, they are all together, they're on board, blase, this, that, and the third. And it reads Amos 3:3, and it reads, can two walk together except they be agreed? So Denmark was found by the investigation of by the Europeans over there, headed by Sweden, was the first one to talk about these leaks. And I have it written down. Denmark relations with the U.S. goes back to 1801. 1801, and they are a very close ally. They never had any problems with one another. Go read it, go Google it, and you'll see these people have never had no type of incursion or disagreement with the United States. And we don't believe in coincidence, but I'm gonna use this terminology just to prove a point. Isn't it a coincidence that one of the United States' closest allies, one that they never fell out with, you know what I'm talking about? They always seen eye to eye. They always buddy, was the first one to detect these leaks. Anyway, I'm gonna grab a few more. All this slick shit that they've been doing, I ain't gonna grab number 1 or 2 precepts, because this video been long enough. All this slick shit they've been doing is gonna come back and bite them in the ass. Let me go to Proverbs. Listen to this here. This is Proverbs 26 and 26, and almost, and this is actually dealing with. Well, we're gonna put this on them. Put it like that. We're gonna put this jacket on them, so they're gonna wear this. It says, "Whose hatred is covered by deceit." By deceit. Now, I got a definition for that word, deceit. Check this out. It says, the act of causing someone to act as the slacker. The act of causing someone to act as true or valid what is false or invalid. Again, deceit, the act of causing someone to accept as truth or valid what is false or invalid. So that's being deceitful, when you causing someone to accept as true or valid something that is false and invalid. Now, I remember I told you they lie so much, that they, and the majority of the world has just gone along with it because, the United States been walking around passing out money and shit, lining pockets and, striking little deals here and there. But these lies have caught up with these clowns. And they so caught up in their own pomp and prideness and so full of themselves, they can't even change they can't change their ways, They can't even change up. They can't even change up how they presenting the lie no more. Yeah. They tell you the same lies over and over and over and over again. And the majority of the people have fell into the trance of believing it over and over and over again. That these people are so confident in their lies that the lies have actually caught up with them, and it sounds stupid at its basis. Anyway, it says, "Whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be shewed before the whole congregation." And in this case, all of Israel see what's going on with this clown. You know what I'm talking about? Because Israel is the congregation. But the whole world is seeing what this clown is doing. And the majority of his allies are his own people, via the Europeans, the Swedes, the Germans, the Danish, the French, the Spanish, Portuguese, so forth and so on. Anyway, verse 27, it says, "Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him." And that's what you're saying. These lies and deceitful ass schemes and whatnot, it's starting to roll right back into his own living room. When you see the Secretary of State Zelensky, not Zelensky, but I can't think his name. Anyway, sitting up there trying to explain off things that they've thought that they, have gotten beyond. That's that stone rolling back on top of them. That's that lie coming back. Now you got to get your ghostwriters, New York Times and Forbes magazines, and write these articles and put them out there as though they're true, being deceitful. What deceitful goes into? The act of causing someone to accept as true or valid what is false or invalid. See? Now they got to use these deceitful tactics because that's his spirit. That's their spirit. That's their damn spirit. Anyway, I got one more. I'm gonna close out. This is Psalms 64, an oldie but goodie. And I'm gonna go straight to the point here with this one. It says, this is Psalm 64 and 8, and it reads, "So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away." All these lies and these deceitful ass, all the debauchery that these people have done over the generations, over the time that they've been in rulership, man, has gotten old. And the Lord finna clean house. The Lord is finna clean house, because they have walked upon the earth and the seas and and have Jake, all in a frenzy, believing all this foolishness, you know what I'm saying? Because if you go back to what that is, the Civil Rights Act of '64, I believe it was around up in there. 64, I think it was 64, somewhere up in there. Anyway, because I think Dr. King was killed in '68, so it had to have been around. Yes, it was around up in that time frame. Anyway, what was the big deception? That you actually have a say-so in governmental affairs, things that happen here in the U.S. and whatnot. You have a say-so, And so in doing so, by, putting on a charade and putting on an act for you via that, what it is, Civil Rights Act bill and all that, via that, you were deceived. So anything that this man say, you hanging on to it like a damn shirt on a damn clothes hanger, man. And he lying to you the whole time. He tell you to take this medication. You take it without a second, third, fourth, or fifth opinion. My doctor said, It just goes to show you the stupidity of our people, man. You actually trust in this beast, in this cave maggot, this knuckle dragging cave maggot. And all the evidence show otherwise. His whole existence is to put your ass to death. And the Lord gonna let him do so soon and very soon. Lord willing, the brothers that sigh and cry that come out and expose his devil for who he is and what he is, and bring these truths and filter these acts of these prophecies that we see on played out on the TV and whatnot by way of the scriptures. Lord willing, the Lord have mercy on us. Lord willing. But let me grab this real quick. This is Job 12 and I think what it is. Here it is right here. This is Job 12 and 16, and it says, "With him is strength and wisdom." Who is that? That's the Lord. The deceived, you well-to-do Jakes. I'm blessed. I'm blessed in Jesus Christ. The first one to say JC name. First one to say the Lord's, you think that's the Lord's name, JC. I'm blessed in Jesus Christ. It says the deceived and the deceiver are his. You and this devil belong to the Lord. But you know what? Real quick, I'm going to close out with this one right here. I think it's Isaiah 66, yeah. This is Isaiah 66 and 4, and it reads, "I will also choose their delusion and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not." The men of the Lord are out here on the highways and hedges week in, week out. They putting these videos out on the airways as fast as goddamn CBS can come up with a new TV series. But guess what? You did not choose the Lord. What it says, again, I also will choose their delusion. So that goes for you well-to-do Jakes. I'm blessed in Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen, Jehovah, and all that old foolishness. The Lord has already chosen your delusion. And 2/3 of our people are going to have to be put to death. Hey, Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all infinite honor and glory and praise to the Most High, Yahweh and His Son, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle, elders, great millstone. Shalom.